This is Anti-Imperialist Front TV news for the week ending January 18th, 2025. Two revolutionaries from Turkey, Shadi Özpolat and Ali Ercan Gökolu, have filed a criminal complaint against Turkish fascism for its support for the massacre of the peoples of the region in the interests of imperialism. Turkey is actively helping US imperialism to massacre millions in the region, especially in Iraq. Most recently, it has taken an active role in the massacres in Syria. Defining AKP fascism as traitorous, the revolutionaries included the following sentences in their statement. Traitorous collaborators have made use of our lands for massacres in the neighboring countries. The massacre plans of the Syrian and Middle Eastern peoples were made in our country. Revolutionaries of Turkey will not allow the lands of Anatolia to be a base for attacks on the peoples on behalf of imperialism and its collaborator henchmen. You will not make the peoples of Anatolia partners in the crimes of collaborationism and massacres. On behalf of the peoples of Anatolia, it shows the whole world how all traitors, especially Recep Tayyip Erdogan, Hakan Fidan, Ibrahim Kalin, and Yaşar Güler, are the servants of imperialism. The anti-imperialist tradition has been growing since Kızıldere in the lands of Anatolia. As long as there are revolutionaries, our homeland will not be the base for attacks where the plans for the massacre of fraternal peoples are made. As long as there are revolutionaries, you will not be able to use the peoples of Anatolia for the crime of collaborationism. We sue all traitors on behalf of our people. Group Yorum member Rezan Şengül tortured for speaking Kurdish. On January 10th, Rezan Şengül, a worker of Group Yorum, who was transferred to hospital, was attacked by gendarmes for speaking Kurdish with two female prisoners. The gendarmes first used abusive insults against Şengül for speaking Kurdish with the prisoners and then physically attacked her. Gendarmes grabbed Rezan Şengül by her hair and kicked her repeatedly. In the statement made by the People's Law Office, it was noted that Rezan Şengül did not have any part of her body that was not stricken, and it was said as follows. Our client has many abrasions and bruises on her body. Rezan Şengül has filed a criminal complaint on the subject. Our client has just come out of a long hunger strike and still has serious health problems. We will follow up her criminal complaint. Torture is a crime against humanity that has no statute of limitations. We will fight against torture wherever we are, and we will not allow torture to be canonized. Resistance continues in the prisons of Turkey. Fascism's attack to intensify the isolation policy using well-type prisons has brought along a new wave of resistance. Currently, free prisoners are resisting the well-type prisons in 9 different places. Tayad families brought all these resistances together using a poster. The poster states that indefinite hunger strikes are still going on in 9 different places and reads as follows. 9 torches of resistance, armed with hope, resist the well-type attack. We defeated the well-types 11 times. We will resist and triumph until the well-type prisons are closed. Israel publishes a list of Palestinians to be released in the first phase of the deal. A list of some of the Palestinian prisoners to be released in a hostage swap under the ceasefire agreement in relation to Gaza has been announced. In the first phase, the agreement will release 1,977 Palestinian prisoners, 290 of whom are serving life sentences. The agreement includes the release of 1,000 Palestinian prisoners arrested after 8th October 2023 and 47 prisoners who were rearrested despite the release in the 2011 swap deal. According to the text of the agreement, the exchange will be carried out 7 times at regular intervals during an initial phase of 42 days. According to the Israeli newspaper Haaretz, 3 Israeli hostages will be released on the first day and 4 on the 7th. 3 Israeli hostages will be released on each of the 14th, 21st, 28th, and 35th days of the ceasefire. And finally, 14 Israeli hostages will be released in the last week of the first phase. In addition, since the ceasefire was announced, Israel has massacred more than 100 Palestinians. Although this ceasefire is a defeat for Israel, it is a fact that the bloodshed of the Palestinian people will not stop until this Zionist criminal organization is destroyed. Swedish dock workers vote to block military shipments to and from Israel. Members of the Swedish Dock Workers Union, SDU, voted by 68% in December to block the shipments to and from Israel, answering a urgent call for solidarity from workers in Palestine. The Swedish government continues to trade arms with Israel. Exports are relatively small, totaling $4.5 million in 2023, but imports are much more significant. The Swedish Defence Forces have signed contracts to import more than $200 million worth of arms from Israel. The blockade is set to start this week. Protests in London in support of Palestine. A protest took place in the British capital on January 18th in support of Palestine. The authorities initially banned it and then allowed a static protest in Whitehall and put up barricades. Some people managed to break through the police barricade and got to nearby Trafalgar Square. At least 8 people were arrested. The British government has collaborated particularly closely with Zionism during the massacre in Gaza. This is Anti-Imperialist Front TV news for this week. For news outside the mainstream, follow us on social media. See you next week.